YouTube, it's Speedy Two Finger, and I'm on a little remote cam here. Um, I had put together this. I was given this Decade box by this tube amp guy, this amp builder. He gave me a bunch of stuff. He was cleaning out his garage because he was moving. So one of the things he gave me was a handmade JTM 45. A combo. It's got two 12s. It's just a beautiful amp. And then he gave me this Decade box, which originally was a darker color blue. It had some markings on it and three big knobs. So I removed those knobs and I've installed some guitar pedal circuits. While I was doing this project, I had the idea to use my, what do you call that thing? Christmas tree bit, my stepped drill bit, and then I put this little cup in here, and when I'm working I put all my cutoffs in there instead of just throwing them on the floor. Now this device is three guitar pedal circuits in one. There's an input and output jack in the back, and the power runs through the jack, so it will not turn on unless we plug a we're going to plug the input and the output in. And this is a little test amp I built. Nothing to get excited about. So what we got going on here is 83 TB. Now I'm not exactly sure. I'm pretty sure that I'm 90% sure, 99% sure this is the Pete Cornish treble booster. I got the PCB from Fuzz Dog, and it's a very different treble booster. It doesn't kill all your. And I think if you build the Rangemaster and you don't use the right transistors and blah blah blah, you'll end up with more of that with it just gutting all your lows and your mids more than you would if you use the right transistor. Maybe I'm wrong about that. My experience is with the Rangemaster, it really kills a lot of the lows and the highs, so I like using additional boost after it to bring that back. So I tried a different treble booster on this model, and man, it's really a great sounding treble boost. The Fuzz Dog TB3, and secondly, we have the Demeter Fat Control, which is a mid boost single knob. Like this is the boost control, and this is a volume control. I put a volume control on this, the first stage, because it's so loud. Right now, I have a BC 549 in it, which is like, it's like 575 HFE. Now I've got some lower HFE silicon transistors coming, including a BC 239, which there's a very similar circuit to this. I'm not sure if it's the Greg Fry or if it's the Pete Cornish, but the dude who hosts the website, it's Paul in the Lab. That guy's like he's the treble booster king, and he said this treble booster is one of the best I've ever played. So I'm going to be checking that out. I've got BC 239s coming. I've got some other like 2369As coming, like some silicon NPN switching transistors that are supposedly good for in Rangemasters. They're lower H. They're like around 50 to 150 HFE instead of like 600. So what that means is that I'm building these really old circuits with newer transistors that are way more powerful. So they're super loud, and I'm going to be able to run it wide open without throttling it back with a volume control, in essence. So I'm not really done with this. Like it's working now, and pretty stable. But I on this one and think it's just this one. Um, I've got a different transistor and I can just pull it out of the socket. You don't have to unsolder it. So I actually wrapped some tape around it because I didn't want the transistor going anywhere. Here I made a little wood, it's a C of wood, and I used some epoxy to connect that bottom plate, and then the PCB is held into place in this little clamshell. That's the Demeter Fat Control, Demeter Mid Boost, and that's a really good circuit. Like if you have a Strat with single coils and you like the 4 position, the top 2 pickups combined, that quacky spanky sound, this you're gonna be something you want. The other version of it is called the Eric Clapton Mid Boost, and the Demeter Fat Control is just a different way. It uses an op amp instead of using a bunch of transistors. And I've built a couple of these Demeter Fat Control Mid Boost. It's got a couple of names, and I absolutely love this circuit with a single coil with a Strat. So yeah, there's treble booster, there's mid boost, and lastly we have an EP boost, which this has been modified. This PCB comes from Teda, and in the instructions they said we can give you, this is the fat switch to boost the lows, and this is the treble switch, and you can use different, it's a different resistor value on the high side, and on the low side it's a different capacitor value. You use these, and then when you change the switches, it'll have a slightly more dramatic effect of raising the low frequencies or raising the high frequencies. And I like running my EP booster with both of those switches wide open. So the idea with this box is I haven't been playing with distortion. I've been playing clean and using boosts to get my distortion. And I use a NUX MG30, which is this here. This is a really good amp modeler, and it has an effects loop. So I have been experimenting with pedals. This is what I've been running. It's the green one is called a cattle inbred Naga Viper. This is a 2N222 silicon transistor, volume, gain, and volume, tone, and gain. And then here is a Boss FZ2 boost. It's the same boost featured in the Behringer Superfuzz SF300, that orange $30 Behringer pedal. So yeah, this is volume, gain, treble, and bass. And this kind of neuters your lows and mids, and this brings it back. And I got this fused here. This is a really good little pedal board. It makes the modeling amps come alive. Like they sound phenomenal with, and the boosts that come in the device in the NUX MG30 are good. I find these are better. I like these boosts better. So the combination of these analog boosts in the effects loop with this amp modeling, I use reverb and delay and blah, blah, blah. Some of the patches I kick on modulation effects in different parts of the songs. There's a control knob on the MG30, and you can set up 3 scenes per patch to change stuff. And the latest firmware update, I haven't installed it yet. I had it on for about a week, but it was a beta issue, and they're still working on the bugs of it. But it enabled you to completely change whatever you want. Change amp models, change settings. Originally, it was just turning effects on and off. You couldn't change any settings. And I did pretty good with that, and then when I had it on the update, man, you can do some really cool stuff with that. So, I love my MG30, and when I'm integrating it with these boost pedals, the sound I'm getting is the best guitar tone I've ever got by a lot. I'm using Vox AC30, Vox AC15, um, Roland Jazz Chorus, all kinds of different Fender amp models. And the distortions are great. The high gain distortion on this NUX is phenomenal. So no matter what tone I'm looking for, I'm going to be able to get it with this thing. And then enhancing it with these boosts is where I've been at lately. So I built this. It's a little big. It's a little bulky. But I like the way it came out. I think it's a pretty good looking device. It'll get and again, I'm not looking to get distortion. Those days are in my past pretty much. I mean, I still play with distortion, but I really love the experience of playing cleaner guitar with the single coils. It's really something. You know, I now I know what I was missing when I was a kid, and I just clicked on the big muff with the mid scoop DQ, and I thought that was what it was all about. So, super stoked about this. Right now, there's no buffer in it. Eventually, I could put a switchable buffer. I could put another jack over here and clone the input. So I would have an input jack here and here. So, because see, if I'm running it on the NUX here, there's I get two identical cable lengths, about 18-inch cables running in and coming out and going right to here, and then it's nice and neat, you know. And the internal lithium-ion batteries are going to last a really long time on this. As a matter of fact, it'd be even longer if I didn't put the LEDs in it. But and this was not without its hassles. We had some problems with these. I had never used these the PCBs for the switching, and I ran into a bunch of issues. And I had a originally I had a Rangemaster that first I had the Red board. I pulled that out, and we built a Rangemaster and put it in. That Rangemaster, I never figured out what was going on with that. That had issues. So, and that happens from time to time. I'll get a bum component, or it's not the soldering. I went over this thing so many times reheating it. It's got to be something else. So the long and the short of it is I had purchased some of these LM2895 boards, and they have a little tweaker on it, voltage regulator. Those were giving me like 8.17 volts or something. Like there's a huge deficit between what you're putting in and what comes out. So putting in 12.5 wouldn't allow me to get 9. And those things, I'm through with them. I've had so many bum units. I had one in there that I bought one when I ordered the parts. It didn't work at all. I put another one in, and it worked for about a day, and then it smoked out and stopped working. So I don't know if there was something funky going on with a short in the switching for the LED or whatever. For now, everything is good. And ultimately, I built it so I can fix it, you know. So that's my multi-effect that I built. I've never built anything like this. I always wanted to build something like this, and now I have. I don't think I will ever do it again. That being said, it was a fun project, and I want a super extra special thanks to my old lady for helping me out with this and being patient. We played our first remote of the season yesterday. I was just in an incredible amount of pain. And I had brought it with me to use, and I had to use the other board, the green and red one. So when we got home, I started in on it, working on it, and it ended up being a late night. So we're going to have some Italian beef sandwiches with French fries tonight, homemade, of course, and celebrate the fact that this thing is done. Thanks for popping in and watching the video. I would encourage you to check out some of our music because we filmed a bunch of music. It's a different location, and I'm not sure, there was some glare in the video. I'm not sure how good the video is going to be. I may not release any of this footage. We may have to see. I think the stuff earlier in the day was better than the later in the day footage. I probably will put some of it up, but I think ultimately this new location, it might not be conducive to filming unless we can figure out a way to do it. We might have to use our old location at the Forge for when we want to shoot video, and if we want to go out and just have a day of making music for ourselves and not have to worry about the camera, we go to the other place. I'll talk to you guys soon. Thank you so much for joining me. If you haven't, you can subscribe and stick around. I like building stuff, the tools that enable me to make music, and I love writing original music. So if you're into that type of thing, if you like guitars, you'd like it here. Anyway, take care of yourselves, try to stay cool, and peace is what I like try to say. But the most important one is hug your pets. I got to do that. I need to spend some time with my buddy, Kita. So we'll talk to you